Still stuck customizing every client project? I was too, until I found a simple system that let me turn my service into a repeatable product, making me more profit and freeing up my time. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the exact 6 steps that I used to scale this service to 100K months and now help nearly 900 agencies scale a whole lot smarter. Oh, and by the way, if you wanna turn your service into a repeatable, scalable system, click the link below to join my newsletter. Every week, I send simple playbooks and real examples to help you productize, systematize, and scale without adding more hours to your plate. But let's rewind for a second. When I first started, I'd be on a sales call and the prospect would tell me what they wanted. And in the middle of the call, I'd design this fancy custom plan all on the fly. Then came the worst part, pricing. Either too high and I'd lose the deal, or too low and I'd end up working for scraps. It was very exhausting and unpredictable. And one day it hit me. I was giving away 90% of the value in the sales call before anyone ever even paid me. In the time it took me to draft a proposal and debate pricing, I could have already built most of what they actually needed. And that realization forced me to stop winging it and build a structured offer, one repeatable process that every client would follow. Now, that one shift, it shortened my sales calls, it made pricing simple, and more importantly, I created the vehicle that would let us scale steady monthly revenue instead of living deal to deal. If you're ready to stop winging it and finally build a scalable service, here's exactly where to start. Step 1, pick one service that you can deliver fast. Most people think custom work means reinventing the wheel for every single client. But here's the truth. Even the fanciest custom services are 80% the same as everyone else's. It's like custom cabinets. Sure, the doors and handles might look different, but underneath, it's just the same basic box as every other kitchen. Or cars, for example. There are hundreds of models, but most of them share the same and/or a very similar chassis. The real difference is the finishing touches. So instead of building something new from scratch every single time you get a new client, I want you to pick one core service that you can deliver quickly. Ideally in a sprint of 1, 2, maybe even 7 days. The shorter, the better, to be honest. Start with your most common or most profitable service and make sure it delivers a clear, specific result. For us, that was building an evergreen webinar funnel. It was focused, fast, and something that clients actually wanted. So look at your own services. What's that one thing that you do best, that you know you can deliver quickly, that solves a real problem for your clients? That's your starting point. Once you've picked your one core service, the next challenge is making sure that you can deliver it the same way every single time. No more guessing or scrambling. Step 2 is outline your delivery process. Creating your outline is like writing a recipe for your signature dish if you were a chef. The first draft covers the basics, but as you serve it up a few times, you spot what's missing and you make tweaks over and over again. Soon you've got a foolproof recipe that anyone can follow for consistent results. So start out by mapping out every step that you take to deliver your service. What happens first? What comes next? What do you need from the client at each stage? Then I want you to run a few clients through this new process. Each time you hit a missing step or a decision point, just go back and update the outline. If your client says this, then go here. If they want that, then do this instead. You got to keep refining until you've captured every single step. The more detailed your recipe, the easier it is for you to deliver that service smoothly, and the less you're going to have to think on the fly. And if you'd like my help and want to follow a simple system to do this, click the link in the description below to learn more about working together. Once you've got your step-by-step outline in place, the next move is to actually make sure that you have the right tools in place to make this process effortless so that you're not constantly chasing down missing information or having to reinvent the wheel every time. Step 3, we want to assemble the tools in advance. Think of this like setting up the kitchen before you actually cook. You wouldn't start making your signature dish, then realize halfway through that you're missing a pan or the right knife. You want everything ready to go right where you actually need it. For example, we created a form for clients to fill out before our kickoff call. That way we'd already have all the copy, the headlines, and the key details before we even started to assemble the funnel. We also had pre-built 90% of our automations so that we could just Click a few buttons and import them straight into the client's business. No wasted time or hunting down old files or rebuilding anything from scratch. Now, here's a pro tip. Most of the tools and resources that you're going to be putting together will be things that you use over and over and over. I want you to think back to that core part of the cabinet that I mentioned earlier. This is so that your effort that you're putting in now early pays off every single time you take a client through your process. So look at your process and ask, what forms, templates, worksheets, or automations would make it easier to capture client information and have a good chunk of the delivery done before you even start? Get those set up now, and you'll save yourself hours on every single project. Now, once your tools are set up and ready to go, the next step is making sure your clients are just as prepared as you are. So step 4 is record your how we work video. Let me give you a real world example. We took our clients on an ATVing trip at one of our retreats. Now, before we hit the trails, the company brought us into a room and they handed out all the gear and they sat us down to watch a quick instructional video. Then came a little pep talk or a prep talk. They talked about what to watch out for, how to stay safe, and what to expect once we got out on the trail. The whole point was so that we could have fun and focus on the experience without constantly stopping to ask questions or getting tripped up by something that was unexpected, not having heard this information. That's exactly what your how we work video does for your clients. It's going to set expectations. It is going to explain the process and define any key terms or steps that they're going to need to know so that when you jump on your kickoff call, everyone's speaking the same language and ready to hit the ground running. Instead of spending half the time explaining how things are going to work and defining terms that they still don't understand. So before your next project, I want you to record a video walking your clients through your process and what they'll need to know. You're going to save time, avoid confusion, and you're going to set the stage for a smoother, more enjoyable project for everyone. Now, once your clients know how everything works, there's still one piece to keep things running smoothly after delivery. And that's step 5, where I want you to add weekly office hours. Think of this like setting open gym time after a training session. You've already shown everyone all of the moves, but you know that there's going to be people that have questions once they start trying things on their own. So instead of answering the same questions over and over and over again, or drowning in the endless one-off emails and calls, give your clients a set time each week to go get help. Because you deliver your service in a sprint, clients will always have lingering questions. Maybe they need clarity on something that you built, or they want advice on how to get even more out of it. Usually this turns into a string of back and forth messages or free consulting calls that you weren't getting paid for. But here's the fix. Funnel all of those questions into a recurring group call and or a community space. This is like that pressure release valve. Clients can join a live office hour session once or twice a week, pop into a free Facebook group, and or even submit their questions for you to answer on the call if they can't make it. And if they can't make it, no worries. They can just go watch the recording later, give them timestamps, make it easy to consume. This way, your time stays protected, your clients still feel supported, and everyone benefits from hearing answers to questions that they might not have thought to ask. So I want you to set up your weekly office hours or group Q&A call. Just 1, maybe 2 slots a week. Usually that's plenty. You're going to save yourself from burnout, and your clients will love having a reliable place to go to get help. Now, once you've got your delivery running like this well-oiled machine, there's one last lever to pull that honestly most people miss, and it's a game changer for scaling. Which brings us to step 6, which is to sell your byproducts. Let me give you a classic example from Henry Ford's playbook. As a part of his push to control every single part of the car making process, he set up his own sawmills to produce wooden parts for his cars. That meant he was left with piles of wood scraps, sawdust, and other leftovers from the milling process. But Ford didn't just let that waste pile up. Working with his cousin-in-law, Edward G. Kingsford, they found a way to turn those leftovers into something new. Charcoal briquettes. Briquettes? Briquettes? I don't know how to say it. This spun off and became what we now know today as Kingsford, one of the biggest charcoal brands in the world. That's the kind of opportunity that you have here inside of your business. All of the documentation, the forms, the checklists, the videos that you've built to deliver your service, those aren't just internal tools. They're valuable byproducts. I want you to package them up as templates, toolkits, maybe even a mini course. What you've created for your own process can help others, and people will pay for shortcuts to save them time and headaches. For example, once we had our process documented, the email templates, the automations that were, like I said, 90% pre-built, and training videos dialed in, we could bundle them up and we could sell them as one-offs. We'd already done all of the work, and now it just became an instant scalable asset. And even better, not everyone's gonna be ready and or able to invest in that main service. But when you have those byproducts packaged up, you can offer them as a downsell. So even if someone can't afford your full offer right now, they can still buy your templates or a mini course and get value and stay in your world and ecosystem. It keeps the door open for future business, and you never leave money on the table. So I want you to look through everything that you've built along the way up until this point. Ask yourself, what could be packaged up and sold to others in my industry? You might be sitting on 6 figures per year just collecting dust on your Google Drive. You've got the system, you know how to deliver, automate, and now even monetize your byproducts. But the real question is, how do you scale this thing up and hit those big revenue numbers? That's exactly what I cover in my next video. So click here and I'm going to show you the strategies I used to grow my Productize service to 100K months so you can do it too.